The pen was still warm in his hand when he slid the papers toward me. "You ought to thank me," he said, leaning back like he'd just closed a business deal. "You were keeping me from succeeding." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just smirked. He mistook it for weakness, for denial, for the quiet acceptance he'd trained me into over the years. He had no idea it was the last expression he'd ever understand from me. There was a time I would have fought for him. I remember the first night we met. He was ambitious, sharp, always talking about the future, like it was something he could bend. I admired that. I thought I was part of that vision. We built everything together. Or at least that's what I believed. I worked longer hours so he could chase opportunities. I handled bills while he invested in himself. I made space for his dreams, shrinking mine without even noticing. And he let me... No, he needed me to. Because a man like him doesn't rise alone. He climbs on something. Or someone. It just took me too long to realize I was the latter. The change wasn't sudden. It never is. It started with silence. Late nights that turned into early mornings. Conversations that felt like interviews instead of intimacy. Then came the distance. He stopped asking how I was. Stopped noticing the small things. Stopped pretending. I noticed everything. The new cologne. The careful way he'd angle his phone away. The messages that lit up his screen always face down. I didn't confront him, not yet. I watched. Collected. Waited. Because the truth, when it finally came, wasn't something I wanted to discover in anger. I wanted it clean. Undeniable. I found it on a Tuesday. A message simple, careless. I missed last night already. No name, no explanation. Just enough. I stared at it for a long time. Not shocked. Not broken. Just certain. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. Not my heart. My strategy. I didn't scream. I didn't expose him. I adjusted. I started documenting everything. Financial records. Shared accounts. His investments. Every unexplained withdrawal suddenly made sense. He thought he was building a future without me. He didn't realize he was leaving a trail. I met with a lawyer quietly. Asked the right questions. Learned the exact moment where his ambition crossed into liability. And then I waited. Because timing is everything. You don't strike when you're emotional. You strike when the outcome is guaranteed. The divorce was his idea. Of course it was. He wanted freedom. Clean break. No complications. He even rehearsed his lines like the one he delivered that day. "You should be grateful," he said again, tapping the document. "This is better for both of us." I signed. No hesitation. No negotiation. That was his first mistake. He thought I was giving up. In reality, I was letting him walk away. Before the real value showed up. The lottery ticket wasn't even supposed to matter. I bought it out of habit. Something small. Something meaningless. The next day, everything changed. I remember the numbers on the screen. The way they matched, one by one, like the universe aligning in silence. I didn't celebrate. I didn't tell anyone. I just sat there staring at the screen and smiled. Because suddenly everything made sense. The timing. The patience. The restraint. He had rushed to cut me out. Right before I became everything he ever wanted. I claimed the money quietly. Structured it carefully. Protected it completely. By the time he heard the news, it was already untouchable. Legally mine. Entirely separate. Sealed by the very documents he'd been so eager to finalize. His independence had come at a cost. Millions, to be exact. He showed up at my door 3 weeks later. Same confidence. Same arrogance. But there was something new in his eyes. Uncertainty. "I think we made a mistake," he said, trying to sound calm. I leaned against the doorframe, studying him like a stranger. "No," I replied. "You made a decision." His jaw tightened. "You didn't tell me." "I didn't owe you that." Silence. For the first time since I'd known him, he didn't have control of the conversation. "You used me," he said finally. I almost laughed. "No," I said softly. "I just stopped protecting you." That's when it hit him. Not all at once, but slowly, painfully. He realized the money wasn't the real loss. It was the access, the control. The version of me that used to prioritize him above everything else. That version was gone, and there was nothing he could do to get it back. He tried, of course. Calls, messages, apologies that sounded more like negotiations. I ignored them all. Because revenge isn't loud. It doesn't need witnesses. It's quiet, precise, final. Now, when I think back to that day, the papers, the smirk, his words echoing in the room, I don't feel anger. I feel clarity. He thought success meant leaving me behind. What he didn't understand was this. I was never the thing holding him back. I was the reason he got as far as he did. And the moment he let me go, he lost everything he didn't even realize he had.